The stars flickered as space bent and twisted. A massive hole opened in the blackness beyond Mars. Through this tear in space came the warships of the Rigelian Empire. 20 large destroyers led the way, followed by hundreds of smaller ships. Their metal hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight as they moved toward Earth. Admiral Zorthak stood on the bridge of his flagship, his tall blue body straight with pride. 6 fingers tapped on the command console as he watched the blue-green planet on the main screen. "Finally, another world for the Empire," he said. His voice was deep and confident. "Our scouts say these humans have simple weapons and no space defenses. This will be an easy victory." The ship's second-in-command, Velnara, nodded. "The humans don't even know we exist. They still fight each other over land and resources. They will surrender quickly when they see our power." Admiral Zorthak smiled, showing sharp teeth. "Send the standard message. Give them one chance to surrender before we show them what real power looks like." Deep under the Rocky Mountains on Earth, alarms blared in a secret military base. General Elena Vasquez rushed into the command center, her face calm despite the red warning lights. Screens around the room showed the alien ships approaching. "Status report," she ordered. A young officer looked up from his screen. "The Sentinel. Array detected them coming out of hyperspace near Mars, General. We count at least 200 ships. They match the designs we found in the crashed alien ship 15 years ago. They're Rigelian, just as we expected." General Vasquez nodded. She had been preparing for this day since they discovered the crashed alien scout ship in the Amazon rainforest. That discovery had changed everything. World leaders had secretly agreed to work together, building defenses that no one outside a select few knew existed. "Activate the planetary defense protocol," she ordered. "But keep it quiet. No need to scare civilians yet." Around the world, hidden military bases came to life. Weapons platforms disguised as weather satellites turned toward the incoming fleet. On the far side of the moon, massive cannons rose from the dust where no human telescope could see them. A communications officer raised her hand. "General, we're receiving a transmission from the alien fleet. It's broadcasting on all frequencies in every language." "Put it on screen," Vasquez said. The face of Admiral Zorthax appeared on the main display. His blue skin and 4 eyes would have been shocking to anyone who didn't know aliens existed. "People of Earth," the alien said, his voice translated by computers. "I am Admiral Zorthax of the Rigelian Empire. Your planet now belongs to us. Surrender all military control and prepare to serve the Empire. If you resist, we will destroy your major cities one by one until you submit. You have 1 Earth hour to decide." The message ended. The command center was quiet for a moment. General Vasquez smiled. "They have no idea what they're walking into." She turned to her communications officer. "Send our response, just 1 word." The officer nodded. "What's the word, General?" "No." In space, Admiral Zorthax received the response and laughed. "They choose to fight? Send the first wave. Destroy their largest city as a demonstration." 20 destroyer ships moved forward, weapons charging with bright purple energy. They had conquered hundreds of worlds this way. But Earth was ready. The trap was set so 20 Rigelian destroyers moved toward Earth, their weapons glowing with purple energy. Admiral Zorthax watched from his command ship, expecting to see fear and panic from the humans. Instead, there was only silence. "They don't even try to fight back," he said, laughing. "Perhaps they are frozen with fear." The lead destroyers reached firing range, green targeting systems locked onto New York City. The weapons officers pressed their firing buttons. Bright purple energy beams shot from the ships racing toward Earth at incredible speed. Admiral Zorthax leaned forward, waiting to see explosions and destruction. He wanted to hear the humans beg for mercy. But something strange happened. Just as the energy beams were about to hit Earth's atmosphere, a blue light flashed around the planet. The beams simply disappeared. There were no explosions, no destruction. Nothing happened. "What is this?" Zorthax shouted, jumping to his feet. "Where did our attack go?" His crew checked their instruments, confused and worried. "Sir," said one officer, It seems the humans have some kind of energy shield around their planet. Our sensors didn't detect it until we fired. Impossible. Zorthak slammed his six-fingered hand on the console. Our report said they had primitive technology. Deep under the Rocky Mountains, General Vasquez and her team watched the alien attack disappear against Earth's shield. The command center erupted in cheers. Shield holding at 99%, reported Dr. Sanjay Patel, the scientist who had helped develop the technology. The quantum displacement field worked perfectly. Their weapons energy was sent into another dimension. General Vasquez nodded, pleased but not surprised. For 15 years, the best scientists from around the world had worked in secret, using technology found in the crashed alien ship. "They're confused," said a sensor officer watching the alien fleet. "Their ships are holding position." "Good," said General Vasquez. "Now we show them what humans can really do." She turned to her weapons officer. "Activate the moon base weapons. Target the front line of destroyers only." On the far side of the moon, hidden from Earth's telescopes, massive doors opened in the dust. 20 large cannons rose from there, hiding places. They were simple weapons with a simple design. Each held a tungsten rod, 3 meters long and half a meter wide. These rods had no explosives, no fancy technology. They were just very heavy pieces of metal, but they didn't need to be fancy. The cannons used electromagnetic force to launch the rods at incredible speed, almost half the speed of light. At that speed, even simple metal becomes one of the most destructive weapons ever made. The cannons fired silently in the vacuum of space. 20 tungsten rods shot toward the alien destroyers. Admiral Zorthax was still yelling at his crew when the bridge lights turned red. "Incoming objects," shouted a sensor officer. "Moving too fast to track." "Raise shields," Zorthax ordered. But it was too late. The tungsten rods hit the destroyers before the shields could activate. Each rod passed through the alien ships like they were made of paper. The kinetic energy turned into heat and light, tearing the ships apart from the inside. In less than 5 seconds, all 20 destroyers exploded into clouds of metal and fire. Admiral Zorthax stared at the screen in shock. 1/10 of his fleet, destroyed in seconds, by primitives, by humans. "This is impossible," he whispered. On his screen, more objects launched from Earth's moon. The second wave was coming. "Evasive maneuvers," Admiral Zorthax shouted. His voice cracked with fear as he watched more tungsten rods racing toward his fleet. "All ships scatter. Activate emergency hyperspace jumps." The Imperial fleet broke formation, ships flying in different directions. Some tried to jump to hyperspace, their engines glowing blue. But the humans had planned for this too. Small satellites hidden among Earth's orbital debris suddenly activated. They sent out special signals that disrupted the hyperspace drives. 5 Imperial ships attempting to jump exploded as their engines overloaded. On the command ship, Admiral Zorthax gripped his chair as the vessel shook violently. A tungsten rod had passed close by, just missing them. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "These humans were supposed to be primitive. Who are they?" His second-in-command, Velnara, looked pale. "Sir, our intelligence was clearly wrong. These humans have technology as good as ours, maybe better." Zorthax stared at the screen, watching more of his ships explode. In just 5 minutes, he had lost 50 destroyers, a quarter of his fleet. "Pull back," he ordered. "Retreat to Mars orbit. We need to rethink our strategy." In the Earth Command Center, General Vasquez watched the alien fleet retreat. She nodded with satisfaction. "They're running," said Colonel James Chen, her second-in-command. "Should we pursue?" "No," said Vasquez. "Let them run. Phase 1 worked perfectly. Now for Phase 2. She turned to a different officer. "Launch the Raven drones." From a hidden base on Earth's moon, 500 small craft launched silently. Each was about the size of a car, with no windows or weapons visible. These were Raven drones, remote autonomous vehicles for exploration and neutralization. Unlike the tungsten rods, the Ravens didn't attack directly. They were much smarter weapons. Each carried thousands of even smaller drones, each no bigger than a bee. The Ravens accelerated toward the retreating Imperial fleet, moving faster than any human pilot could survive. Their computer brains calculated paths that would intercept the alien ships. Admiral Zorthax had just begun to feel safe when new alarms sounded. "Small objects approaching from Earth," a sensor officer called out. "Too many to count. Shoot them. Down," Zorthax ordered. The Imperial ships fired energy weapons at the approaching Ravens, but the small craft were too fast, too maneuverable. Most dodged the energy beams easily. A few were hit and exploded, but it didn't matter. There were too many. The Ravens reached the Imperial fleet and opened their hatches. Clouds of micro-drones swarmed out, each programmed with a specific task. Some attached to ship hulls and began cutting through the metal. Others found exhaust ports and flew inside. Some simply exploded against shield generators. On the Imperial flagship, the lights flickered and went out. Emergency power came on, casting an eerie red glow across the bridge. "What's happening?" Zorthax demanded. "Something is in our systems," a technician reported, fear in his voice. "The computers are being taken over. Weapons offline, engines offline, life support still working, but we don't control it anymore." Across the fleet, ship after ship went dark, their systems compromised by the micro-drones. In less than 10 minutes, the mighty Imperial armada floated helplessly in space. A hologram appeared on the bridge of every disabled ship. It showed a human woman in a military uniform, General Elena Vasquez. "Admiral Zorthax," she said calmly, "your attack on Earth has failed. Your ships are now under our control. We will be boarding them shortly. I suggest you prepare your crew for surrender." Zorthax stared at the hologram, his 4 eyes wide with disbelief. The humans hadn't just stopped the invasion, they had crushed it completely. Admiral Zorthax sat in his command chair, defeated. Around him, his once proud bridge crew stood with their hands up as human soldiers in black spacesuits moved through the ship. The humans carried strange weapons that seemed to bend light around them. Their helmets showed only a dark reflection of the aliens they were capturing. "This is impossible," Zorthax whispered. "The Empire has never lost a battle like this." A tall human walked onto the bridge. Unlike the others, this one wore no helmet. It was a man with dark skin and serious eyes. The name Hassan was printed on his uniform. "I am Major Tariq Hassan, Earth Defense Force," he said in perfect Rigelian language. "Admiral Zorthax, you are now our prisoner." Zorthax's eyes widened. "How do you speak our language?" Major Hassan smiled slightly. "We've had 15 years to learn many things about the Rigelian Empire." 15 years? Zorthax asked, confused. "We only discovered your planet 6 months ago." "No," said Hassan. "We discovered you 15 years ago when one of your scout ships crashed in our jungles. The pilot died, but the ship's computer was intact. We learned everything about your empire from its files." Zorthax felt cold fear crawl down his spine. The secret scout mission from years ago, the ship that never returned. The humans had found it. "You've been planning for us all this time," Zorthax said, finally understanding. "Yes," Hassan replied. "We united our planet in secret. We built defenses. We prepared. And we waited." In the Earth Command Center, General Vasquez watched video feeds from the human boarding teams. They moved through the alien ships with practiced skill. This wasn't their first time seeing alien technology. They had trained for years in the replica ships built from the crashed Scouts' designs. "Team Alpha has secured the flagship bridge," reported a communications officer. "Admiral Zorthax is in custody. Team Beta has reached the engine room. Team Charlie is downloading their computer systems." Vasquez nodded. "Tell them to hurry. I want all teams off those ships in 30 minutes. Dr. Sanjay Patel looked up from his computer. "The data is already coming in, General. Their technology is impressive but not as advanced as we feared. They rely too much on energy weapons and not enough on physical defenses. That's why our kinetic rods worked so well," Vasquez said. "They never expected simple physics to be their weakness." On the Imperial flagship, Major Hassan placed a small device on the main computer console. It lit up with blue lights as it began copying all the ship's data. "What are you taking?" Zorthax asked. "Everything," Hassan replied. Your star maps, your weapon designs, your military plans. He leaned closer to the admiral. We know about the rest of your fleet, the ones not part of this attack. We know about your homeworld, Rigel Prime. We know about the other 23 species you've conquered. Zorthax felt sick. The humans weren't just defending themselves. They were gathering intelligence for something bigger. What will you do with this information? He asked quietly. Major Hassan's face became serious. That depends on what your empire does next. This attack was unprovoked. We were no threat to you, remember that. The device beeped, indicating it had finished copying the data. Hassan took it and nodded to his team. They began moving toward the exit. Wait, called Zorthax. What happens to us now? Hassan paused at the door. General Vasquez will speak with you soon about terms of surrender. I suggest you listen carefully. Earth is not a planet you want as an enemy. As the humans left, Zorthax looked out the viewport at Earth, glowing blue and green in the distance. He had come to conquer a primitive world. Instead, he had awakened a sleeping giant. Admiral Zorthax gathered his surviving officers in the flagship's meeting room. The humans had left but kept control of the ship's engines and weapons. They could only move around inside the ship, prisoners in all but name. We must decide what to do, Zorthax said, his voice heavy with defeat. The humans will return soon for our answer. Subcommander Velnara spoke first. We have no choice but to surrender. They destroyed half our fleet in minutes. They know where our homeworld is. We should accept whatever terms they offer. Surrender? Shouted Commander Cruel, the fleet's oldest officer. The Empire has never surrendered. In 3,000 years, we have only conquered, never been conquered. This is different, Velnara argued. These humans knew we were coming. They prepared for us. They studied our technology. They built weapons specifically to defeat us. Cruel slammed his fist on the table. Then we should die fighting. Better to die with honor than live with shame. The room erupted in shouting as officers took sides. Some agreed with Velnara that surrender was the only option. Others stood with Cruel, ready to die for the Empire's honor. Zorthax listened silently, his four eyes moving from speaker to speaker. Finally, he raised his hand and the room fell quiet. There is a third option, he said quietly. We pretend to surrender. We agree to their terms. Then when they let down their guard, we signal the Imperial homeworld. The Emperor will send the Great Fleet 10,000 ships. Not even these humans could stand against such power. A murmur of approval spread through the room. It was a plan that might work. It would take months for the message to reach Rigel Prime and for the Great Fleet to arrive. But it was better than simple surrender or death. On Earth, Dr. Sanjay Patel studied the data taken from the Imperial ships. His eyes widened as he found something important. General Vasquez, he called out. You need to see this. Vasquez hurried over to his computer. On the screen was a map of the galaxy with thousands of small dots marking planets. What am I looking at? She asked. These are all the worlds conquered by the Rigelian Empire, Patel explained. Over 300 planets, but that's not the important part. He pointed to a flashing red dot far from Earth. This is Rigel Prime, their homeworld. According to their records, they have a much larger fleet there, the Great Fleet. 10,000 warships. Vasquez's face grew serious. And if Admiral Zorthax calls for help? Exactly, said Patel. We'd face an armada 200 times larger than the one we just defeated. General Vasquez straightened her uniform and turned to her communications officer. Contact Major Hassan. Tell him to prepare for my arrival on the flagship. I need to speak with Admiral Zorthax personally. Back on the Imperial flagship, the alien officers were still discussing their plan when the ship's speakers activated. General Vasquez's voice filled the room. Admiral Zorthax, this is General Vasquez. I will be boarding your vessel in 30 minutes to discuss terms of surrender. However, before I arrive, I should inform you of something important. The admiral's skin paled as Vasquez continued. We have analyzed your communication systems. We know you're planning to call for the Great Fleet from Rigel Prime. Let me be clear. Any attempt to send a message to your homeworld will result in the immediate destruction of all remaining Imperial ships, including yours. The room fell completely, silent as the aliens realized the humans had been listening to everything they said. Zorthax looked at his officers, his last plan destroyed before it even began. The humans were always one step ahead. The human shuttle docked with the Imperial flagship. General Vasquez stepped onto the alien ship, flanked by Major Hassan and 4 soldiers. They walked through the corridors where alien crew members watched with fear and anger. In the ship's main meeting room, Admiral Zorthax and his top officers waited. They stood as the humans entered, their faces showing defeat. "Admiral Zorthax," General Vasquez said, taking a seat at the head of the table. "Let's discuss your surrender." The Admiral sat slowly. "What are your terms, human?" Vasquez placed a small device on the table. It projected a holographic document written in both human and Rigelian languages. "These are our conditions," she said. "First, all Imperial ships will remain under our control. Second, you will provide the codes to disable any automatic distress signals to your homeworld. Third, you will order all your crew to cooperate fully with my people." Zorthax read through the terms, his face growing darker. "And if we refuse?" General Vasquez's face remained calm. "Then we will be forced to eliminate your remaining ships and crews. We don't want to do that. Unlike your empire, we don't believe in unnecessary killing." Commander Cruel jumped to his feet. "You speak of mercy? After destroying half our fleet? You're nothing but savages with advanced weapons." Major Hassan stepped forward, hand on his weapon, but Vasquez raised her hand to stop him. "We destroyed your ships because you attacked us," she said to Cruel. "Your empire came to conquer our world, to enslave our people. We defended ourselves. There's a difference." Zorthax gestured for Cruel to sit down. "What happens to us if we surrender? Will we be your prisoners forever?" "No," said Vasquez. "Once we've confirmed there are no further threats from your empire, you will be allowed to return home with 1 ship." The alien officers looked at each other in surprise. They had expected execution or lifetime imprisonment. "Just 1 ship?" asked Velnara. "Yes," Vasquez replied. "1 ship to carry a message to your emperor. The message is simple. Earth is not for conquering. We wish to live in peace, but we will defend ourselves if threatened again." While the leaders talked, Dr. Patel worked with human engineers in the flagship's engine room. They were studying the alien hyperspace drive, a technology humans had never mastered. "Amazing," Patel said, examining the complex machinery. "Their method of bending space is different from what we theorized. This could advance our research by decades." A young engineer pointed to a small component. "What's this part do, Doctor?" Patel leaned closer. "I think it's their navigation system. It must contain star maps of the entire galaxy." He carefully removed the component. "This is coming back to Earth for study." In the meeting room, Admiral Zorthax finally spoke after reading all the terms. "I have one question," he said. "How did your world unite so quickly? Our intelligence said humans fight among themselves constantly. How did you build these weapons and defenses in secret?" General Vasquez smiled slightly. "When we found the crashed scout ship 15 years ago, the world's leaders faced a choice: keep fighting each other or unite against a common threat. We chose unity." She leaned forward. "Nothing brings humans together like an outside enemy, Admiral. Your empire did us a favor. Before we knew about you, we wasted time fighting over small differences. Now we stand as one people." Zorthax looked at the surrender document again, then at his officers. Most nodded silently. "We accept your terms," he said finally. Vasquez nodded. "A wise decision, Admiral. Now let's begin the process of peace." As she spoke, both humans and aliens knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. 1 week after the surrender, Admiral Zorthax stood on the observation deck of his flagship. The ship was now the only functioning Imperial vessel left. The rest had been taken apart by human engineers, who studied the alien technology with amazing speed. Subcommander Velnara joined him at the window. Below them, Earth turned slowly, beautiful and dangerous. "We leave tomorrow," she said. "All our crew has been processed and cleared to return home." Zorthax nodded. "The humans have kept their word. I didn't expect that." "They are not what we thought," Velnara agreed. "The Empire has much to learn about them." A door opened behind them, and General Vasquez entered with Dr. Patel and Major Hassan. "Admiral," Vasquez said, "I hope you found your accommodations acceptable." "Yes," Zorthax replied. "You have been fair," Vasquez smiled. "Before you depart, we wanted to show you something, a gesture of trust for the future." She nodded. To Dr. Patel. Patel activated a small device that projected a hologram. It showed a massive underground facility where thousands of humans worked on strange machines. "What is this?" asked Zorthax. "This is the Global Defense Research Center," Patel explained, "where we developed most of the technology that defeated your fleet." The hologram changed to show a crashed ship in a jungle. Alien writing was visible on its side. Rigelian writing. "The scout ship," Velnara whispered. "Yes," said Major Hassan. "Found 15 years ago in the Amazon rainforest. The pilot was dead, but the ship's computer contained encyclopedias of information about the galaxy, including the Rigelian Empire." The hologram shifted again, showing world leaders meeting in secret. "When we realized we weren't alone in the universe," Vasquez continued, "and that some alien civilizations might not be friendly, we made a decision. Earth's nations would set aside their differences and prepare together, in secret." Zorthax watched as the hologram showed more images. Humans building massive underground facilities, testing weapons, creating the shield technology. "Why are you showing us this?" he asked. "Because I want you to understand," Vasquez replied. "We could have destroyed your entire fleet. We chose not to. We could keep all your ships and technology. We're returning most of your people. We want peace, not war." Zorthax looked out at Earth again. "The Emperor will not believe this. He will think it's a trick." "Then convince him," said Hassan. "Because if the Empire attacks again, we won't be as merciful." Dr. Patel stepped forward with another device. "We're giving you this to take to your Emperor. It contains information about Earth, our history, our cultures. It also includes proof of what happened here." The Admiral took the device carefully. "You trust me with this?" "We're choosing to," Vasquez said. "The future relationship between Earth and the Rigelian Empire depends on what happens when you return home. Choose wisely, Admiral." After the humans left, Velnara turned to Zorthax. "What will you tell the Emperor?" Zorthax looked at the small device in his hand. It contained the truth about a civilization powerful enough to crush the Empire's fleet in minutes. "The truth," he said quietly. "For the first time in Imperial history, we've met a species we cannot conquer. Perhaps it's time the Empire learned how to make friends instead of subjects." Velnara smiled slightly. "That would be a very different empire." "Yes," Zorthax agreed, watching Earth turn below them. "That would be a better empire." The last Imperial ship prepared to leave Earth orbit. Admiral Zorthax stood on the bridge watching his crew work at their stations. They were quieter than before, changed by their experience with humans. "Course set for Rigel Prime," reported the navigation officer. "The humans have cleared us for departure." Zorthax nodded. "Begin launch sequence." On the main screen, a communication request appeared. The Admiral accepted it and General Vasquez's face appeared. "Admiral," she said, "safe journey home." "Thank you, General," he replied. "I will deliver your message to the Emperor." Vasquez smiled slightly. "Remember what you've seen here. Earth wants peace, but we're ready for war if necessary." The screen went dark, and Zorthax gave the order to depart. On Earth, in the underground command center, General Vasquez watched the alien ship move away from Earth. "Do you think they'll come back peacefully or with another fleet?" asked Colonel Chen. "I don't know," Vasquez replied honestly. "But we'll be ready either way." Dr. Patel entered the room, his face excited. "General, you need to see this." The research team has made a breakthrough with the alien engine technology. We might be able to build our own hyperspace drive within 5 years. Vasquez smiled. So humanity will reach the stars sooner than we thought. Not just reach them, said Patel. Explore them. Maybe even find allies out there. Major Hassan, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. Or more enemies. The Rigelians can't be the only conquering empire in the galaxy. Then we'll be ready for them too, said Vasquez. For now, let's focus on our next steps. 6 months later, Earth had changed dramatically. The world's governments had revealed the truth about the alien attack and humanity's victory. People everywhere now looked to the stars with new understanding. They were not alone and they were not helpless. At a new facility in orbit around Earth, General Vasquez watched construction robots building Earth's first true starship. Using technology learned from the Rigelian ships, humans were advancing faster than anyone had imagined possible. It's beautiful, said Dr. Patel, floating beside her in the zero-gravity viewing room. The Unity, Vasquez said, reading the name, painted on the ship's side. A good name for humanity's first diplomatic vessel. And our first warship if needed, added Major Hassan, who had been promoted to colonel after the battle. Vasquez nodded. Peace through strength, the Rigelians, taught us that lesson well. A communication officer floated up to them. General, we're detecting a hyperspace signature approaching the solar system. It's Rigelian. The three friends looked at each other with serious faces. One ship or many? Asked Vasquez. Just one, the officer replied. And it's broadcasting. A peaceful greeting. Vasquez smiled with relief. Send our reply, tell them Earth welcomes peaceful visitors. As they watched the distant flash of light that marked the alien ship's arrival, Vasquez thought about how quickly everything had changed. 6 months ago, humanity had been alone, looking up at the stars and wondering. Now they were taking their first steps into a vast galaxy filled with both danger and opportunity. What do you think they want? Asked Patel. To talk, said Vasquez. Maybe to trade, maybe to apologize. Whatever it is, we'll meet them as equals. The starship Unity continued to take shape before them, a symbol of humanity's new place in the universe, no longer isolated, no longer vulnerable. Earth was ready for whatever came next. The end.